Hello, today we're going to learn 5 new vocabulary words. These will be words 11 through 15 for the semester, and all of these words come from the book Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. But before we get to the vocabulary words, let's take a look at our standard for vocabulary again. So our standard is to acquire and use accurately general academic and domain-specific words and phrases. So basically what that means is we need to learn the definition of some vocabulary words, understand the meaning and be able to give examples of how they are used, and then use those words in writing. So this is a list of words for this week. For each word, I'll show you a sentence from Number the Stars. I will give you a definition from Learner's Dictionary. I'll show you a definition that you can write in your notes, and I'll also have a picture involved in my explanation. So if you need to pause the video right now to get a notebook, please do that. I do expect you to write each word and its definition in your notes. So our first word for this week is distort. This sentence is referring to one of the Nazi soldiers. One of them had something stuck in his teeth. He probed with his tongue and distorted his own face. So now before we get into the vocabulary word, I want you to notice that in parentheses it says Lowry 70. That's referred to as a parenthetical citation or an in-text citation. It shows us that Lowry, Lois Lowry, wrote this sentence, and it is on page 70 of the book. But let's focus on the vocabulary. Look at the word distorted. What do you think distorted means? Let's take a look at the dictionary and see what we find out. So if we look up the word distorted, what I noticed here is that, first of all, it shortens it to distort, and it's a verb because usually the dictionary has the present tense form of the word. And here we have a couple definitions, so we need to look at them and decide which fits best with the sentence. So this says to change the natural, normal, or original shape, appearance, or sound of something in a way that is usually not attractive or pleasing. So, for example, her face was distorted by pain. So that means the pain was making her face look different than usual, and it wasn't a good difference. Or the sound of the guitar was distorted, so that sound of the guitar got changed, so it didn't sound the way it should. Here's definition 2, to change something so that it is no longer true or accurate. Now if we think back to our example, the soldier's face was distorted, so it probably wasn't saying that his face was no longer true or accurate. Instead, it didn't look normal. It didn't look attractive or pleasing. Now, if we look down here in the dictionary, we see that distorted could be used as an adjective. So someone could have a distorted face or image or distorted view of the situation. The distorted view refers to that second definition. His voice sounded distorted over the phone. It didn't sound normal. So we can use distorted as an adjective, but if we look back in our sentence, it says he probed with his tongue and distorted his own face. So that's an action. He changed his face from what it normally looked like. So here's something you can write in your notes. Distorted as a verb, and it means to change the normal shape or appearance of something in an unattractive way. So we have an example here of those fun mirrors that make your body look different than they normally look. The mirrors distort your image. Another thing that distorts image is filters on different apps that you might have. This is not how my face normally looks, and it changes the normal look of it in a somewhat unattractive way. Someone's voice could be distorted as well. If you've seen on movies where someone makes a phone call, but they have some kind of device that changes the way their voice sounds so that people don't recognize them, they're distorting their voice. So to change something so that it's not normal and it's usually in an unattractive way. Distort. Our next word is protrude. Anne-Marie could see the packet protruding from Mr. Rosen's pocket when he returned to the room and sat down again. So what do you think protrude means? So let's look it up here. So we see once again that protrude is a verb. This definition is much simpler. It just means to stick out. To stick out. So if we look here, his lower jaw protrudes slightly. It means his lower jaw is sticking out farther than the rest of his face. Or a handkerchief protruded from his shirt pocket. It stuck out from the pocket of his shirt. So let's look at this again. The sentence. Anne-Marie could see the packet protruding from Mr. Rosen's pocket. So what do we know about the packet? It's sticking out of his pocket. It's showing a little bit. So here's a picture. So what is protruding on this baby's face? The lower lip. And you could maybe imagine that, seeing someone really sad or a kid trying to make someone feel bad for them. Their lower lip is protruding. It's sticking out. So make sure you get this in your notes. Protrude is a verb. It means to stick out. Now another connection you might make is to our vocabulary word portly. Do you remember what portly means? Portly means somewhat fat. So if someone is portly, their stomach might protrude. Our next word is tentative. Ellen and Anne-Marie both smiled tentatively. For a moment, their fear was eased. So let's take a look at the word tentative. So tentative is an adjective. If we put that ly on the end, it becomes an adverb, but it has basically the same meaning. It's just used slightly differently in the sentence. So we see here we have two definitions for tentative. Not done with confidence, uncertain and hesitant, or not definite, still able to be changed. And if you really think about that, those two definitions are very similar. If something's uncertain, then it's not definite. It's still able to be changed. So a few examples, a tentative smile. So someone might smile, but you can tell they're not very confident or they're somewhat hesitant. Or you might hear someone say, we have tentative plans for the weekend. So those plans aren't definite. They're not certain. They might change. But we can also use tentative as an adverb. So tentatively. The meeting is tentatively scheduled for Friday. So that means that the meeting's scheduled for Friday, but it might change. So let's look back here. Ellen and Anne-Marie both smiled tentatively. So what do we know about their smile? Okay, it's uncertain. They aren't sure if they should be smiling. They aren't sure if they should be not afraid anymore. So in your notes, you can write that tentative is an adjective. And it means uncertain, hesitant, or not confident. So as we can see here, this person is not very confident. Our next word is intricate. Her fingers moved rapidly, turning the thin white thread into an intricate, narrow border. And this sentence is referring to Mama, who was crocheting the edge of a pillowcase for Lise several years prior to when the book was taking place. So take a look at this context. What do you think intricate means? So let's look it up. So we see intricate is an adjective, and it says here having many parts. So intricate machinery, an intricate design or pattern. So in that case, it means complex. Or the movie has an intricate plot. It has many parts to it. We can also add an ly to intricate and make it an adverb. So the intricately woven fabric. So let's look back at our example. Her fingers moved rapidly, turning the thin white thread into an intricate narrow border. So having many parts. And I'm going to add a little bit to that definition. Intricate can mean detailed. So when it has many parts, there are a lot of details, it's complex. So in this picture, we see an intricate coloring page because there are a lot of details to it. If somebody has an intricate drawing or painting, there are a lot of very specific details to it. And our last word for today is exasperated. Mama followed her with an exasperated look and set a package down on the table. So what do you think exasperated means? Let's look it up. So exasperate, here it says exasperate is a verb. So we need to look back here at the sentence though. Mama followed her with an exasperated look. So in this case, exasperate is not something that Mama is doing, but something that describes her look. So we need to make sure we pay attention to that as we look at the definition. So first of all, the verb exasperate means to make someone very angry or annoyed. So, for example, the criticism of his latest movie is sure to exasperate his admirers. So it can be an action. However, in our example, it's an adjective. Someone can be exasperated. In other words, they can be very angry or annoyed. So the delays left us feeling tired and exasperated. So the delays made them feel angry or annoyed. So if we look back here, if Mama has an exasperated look, it probably means that she's a little angry or annoyed, and she's giving a look that shows that annoyance. So here we see a young girl who is angry or annoyed. So we could say that she is exasperated. And just think of how much better word this is than just saying, oh, I'm angry or I'm annoyed. I'm exasperated. You can say that with a little anger maybe to remember the word. So let's just review these 5 words, and you can pause the video to review if you want. But distort means to change the normal shape or appearance of something in an unattractive way. Protrude means to stick out. Tentative means uncertain, hesitant, or not confident. Intricate means having many parts, detailed. Exasperated means very angry or annoyed. So hopefully these words make sense to you and you can learn them and start using them in your own day-to-day expression verbally or in writing. And if you have any questions, please let me know.